Welcome back into Court Vision. It's official. It's playoff time in the NBA, the best time of the season. We're here to break it all down, at least the first round in the play-in, as we are recording this the night before, or the day before, excuse me. The play-in begins on Tuesday, so we'll talk about our predictions for the play-in, and then we'll go series by series and talk about what we expect in the first round to happen. Before we get started, though, I'm Luke Backman here with my co-host Vincent Zakian. And if you like this video, go ahead, like this. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, like the video, subscribe to Backman Sports, also subscribe to Vincent Zakian's channel, and then, of course, comment below who you have winning it all. Let us know in the comments below. But before we get into everything, Vincent, end of the regular season, it's done.
Yeah.
How are you feeling going into the playoffs now? Now is the fun part of the season.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'd be more excited if Joel Embiid didn't just have appendicitis surgery. But there's some really good matchups in the first round. Finally, we can not think about tanking for at least a little while, at least until the draft or next season. And it's going to be real basketball. And that's what we have kind of only had few and far between this season. And I can't wait. It's so exciting.
Yeah, and again, with real basketball, I've said this many times, just when you see these scores, and I know a lot of people get mad at it's only threes and layups when it comes to basketball and NBA basketball. Not in the playoffs. Mid-range reigns supreme, and it's going to be your 100 to 98 type score. So I'm ready for some incredible basketball. Let's jump right into it. Let's talk about the play-in. As we'll talk about tomorrow's game, Tuesday, if you're watching this. This might go out tomorrow, so whatever. The first play-in, Heat versus Hornets, and then we got Trailblazers versus Suns, Heat 10 seed, Hornets 9 seed. So the winner plays the loser of the 7-8, which we'll talk about in a second as well. And then, of course, Trailblazers, the 8 seed, Suns, the 7 seed. Winner of that will move on to a first-round series. A loser will have another game. But first, let's talk about the East, Heat and the Hornets 10-9. What's your thoughts on that matchup?
I think this might be the best game of the play-in round, to be honest. The best game might be Sixers Magic, but I'm just so depressed about Embiid right now. I don't want to acknowledge it. This is a fascinating case study in terms of these two teams. Very young, exciting style of basketball with the Hornets. A lot of talent on that team in that starting five. And then you've got the Heat, who just kind of find a way to be in the play-in every year and can kind of do anything in the play-in, and they've got so much experience in big games and that kind of thing. They're totally on opposite sides of the talent spectrum, but the Heat are so experienced and the Hornets are so inexperienced. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens in one game single elimination. And I want to take the Hornets because I think they would be the most exciting team to sneak into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to see them in that first round series against Detroit if possible. But I feel like the Heat are going to do their thing that they always do and win this game. I don't know.
Would it be a disappointment for the Hornets if all this fun in the second half of the season came crashing down? And this, obviously, they're kind of playing with house money. No one expected the Hornets to really, after the first half of the season, through that stretch, to even be here. But now, they've had some fun. They've had a little struggle against New York, granted New York against their C team in the last regular season game, but Boston and Detroit, no one expects them to beat one of those top teams if they make it to the series. But everyone thought, hey, that'd be a fun team to match up with and give a test to a top seed. You think it'd be a kind of a disappointment if they do get knocked out by the Heat here?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm trying to think of the past teams that I can compare to the Hornets. There was the Minnesota team that won a playing game, obviously with Pat Bev standing on the scoreboard. That was a team in a similar spot where Ant was really young. I'm not sure if he even played in that game that they won, but they were kind of the team that was young and on the rise, and they wanted to just kind of win the play-in, be a representative in the playoffs in some way, and then grow as the seasons went on, and that's what they did. So the Hornets are kind of our latest example of that. Unfortunately, the play-in's kind of been a spot for teams in franchise purgatory, as opposed to teams making their way up on the rise. So there aren't a lot of good comps for this Hornets team when you look at the teams above them in the standings. All these teams just kind of shot into the playoff mix, which makes you kind of question why the plan exists in the first place. But yeah, I think it would be a disappointment if they're not that 8 seed, because for the second half of the season they've been excellent, and they should see themselves as more than a play-in team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that first round series against Detroit would be so fun. I mean, LaMelo was
Yeah.
just going at it with who was it? Duran the other day. They played. LaMelo's yelling at him, doing the 3-point celebration. Like again, I'd pick Detroit in that series, but I think that's a fun series. That's what we want to see. The Hornets again. No one predicts them to win any of these series, but it would be a fun series and test for a top two for Detroit. Honestly, now that we know the bracket is set and everything, it would be against Detroit. That'd be a fun series. So, all right, you're going. You said you're going Heat.
I'm going Heat.
I don't know. I might go Hornets. It's in Charlotte. I'm gonna go Hornets here, but I might be going the other way on if the winner of the 9-10 and loser of 8-7. We'll see. Mm-hmm. But let's go to the other game tomorrow or today if you're watching it on Tuesday. Trailblazers Suns 8-7 matchup. Winner of that's gonna take on the good old San Antonio Spurs. That's your prize for winning this game. Wemby and the Spurs. Who do you have in this matchup?
I like the Suns. In single elimination, I just kind of my inclination is to just go with who's got the best scorer who can kind of take over a game. Mm-hmm. It's Devin Booker. Yeah. So I like the Suns in that spot. I'm happy the Blazers made themselves into something this year. Mm-hmm. With a not great roster, but some up and coming. Klingon's had a good year.
Yeah.
Scoot still figuring it out, kind of, but. I'm glad the Blazers have become interesting, but I like the Suns in this spot.
Yeah, you mentioned Scoot. If they were to win and face the Spurs, the storyline of former 1 and number 2 picks in the draft would be so down on the narrative. Just because Wemby's play is so many levels above any player at his caliber right now. And I mean, think about the Blazers head coach was arrested. A day into the season, Johnson. Yeah. They've overcome. Yeah. Thiago Splitter has done an incredible job with them. With the playoff, I knew they were obviously in that play-in seed, but when they got the 8th seed, I was like, wow. You take away the play-in and all the 9-10, whatever. They would have made the playoffs this year. That's okay. Props to them. Granted, you don't anticipate them doing too much, but at the end of the day, props to the Blazers. Denny Avdia. How do you say his last name?
Avdia.
Avia, oh, okay, I was there. Avia, he's been a nice scorer throughout the year. So at the end of the day, props to them. I'm going with the Suns as well. I think that game's in Phoenix. I like Devin Booker. Devin Booker feels like he's been quiet. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just been the Suns not being on the level as they were 4 or 5 years ago. But
yeah,
I'd like Devin Booker to remind people, hey, I'm still one of those guys in the league.
He'll probably be an All-NBA guard, though. For how, what a disaster the All-NBA teams are going to be this year.
Yeah.
With all of the guys that are missing the 65-game cut, he's probably going to be in that group. By the way, we forgot to mention on Charlotte versus Miami, it's like a custody battle for Terry Rozier. These teams are both, in the courts fighting over who gets Terry Rozier right now.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the game, the game that the Feds highlighted, was it, I think, Miami at Charlotte? I think was the game. Yeah, so it's the Terry Rozier Bowl right here.
Yeah. He should show up. He should sit courtside.
Get him a courtside seat, man. Let him sit next to the mascot or something. Winner gets Terry. All right, let's move on to Wednesday. I know you'll probably have a lot to say about this matchup, but 7 versus 8 in Philly. It's going to be the 76ers taking on the Magic. The Magic are a hot mess, to say the least. Ridiculous. And then the second matchup of the game is going to be on the West Coast, Clippers and Warriors. First, let's talk about that Philly game. 76ers versus Magic. Obviously, the news about Joel Embiid. How are you feeling about the 76ers in this game?
I'm devastated. I think we're going to win this game because I think we have the best player in this game, Tyrese Maxey. And Paul George has been awesome since he's looked fresh since coming back from the suspension. Look, I was going into these playoffs. I didn't really have high expectations, but I was like, let's get the 7 seed or the 6 seed. And our starting 5, and it's a league about depth now, but our starting 5 of Maxey, VJ, Paul George, Kelly Oubre, and Joel Embiid is one of the best starting 5s in the playoffs. Weirdly, they have no depth behind that. But I was talking myself into it. Inevitably, Embiid got the appendicitis here. I have a list of some of Joel Embiid's playoff injuries, and some of them aren't even injuries. Some of them are, appendicitis this year. Obviously, in 2024, we all remember the Knicks series, Bell's palsy, coming back from a torn meniscus. Mm-hmm. 2023, grade 2 LCL sprain. 2022, Pascal Siakam hit him in the face, orbital fracture. 2021, torn meniscus. 2019, illness and knee tendonitis. 2018, orbital fracture and concussion. I don't know why I expected anything different. His appendix exploded on him. I mean, it's just bad luck. Some of these are like, none of these are ever like avoidable, but I mean, it's one thing. Like I was thinking about it the other day with Embiid. Like maybe people will look back on him the way they look back on like Derrick Rose, where he like won an MVP and injuries killed his career. But Embiid, he keeps coming back. Like Rose, he tore his knee and he was never the same. Right, mm-hmm. Derrick Rose. Embiid, he comes back and he looks great, and then something ridiculous, like cartoonish, happens. So I don't know if it'll ever be like that, but I'm really bummed about that because he ended up playing a good season despite, I don't know, playing 30-something games, whatever it was. As far as the Sixers' chances, I don't even want to win this game, man, because I can't keep facing the Celtics and getting humiliated. It's the worst. It's the bane of my existence. It's like Charlie Brown kicking the football or trying to kick the football, and every time I'm like, we're gonna kick the football, and then Jayson Tatum yanks it out of the way. I think maybe the worst Sixers playoff loss of this. I'm just rambling now, but I think maybe the worst run, the most tragic ending to an Embiid era run was in 2023. When they lost to Boston in 7 games after being up 3-2, Harden's second season. I thought that was the best Sixers team of the process era. It's always the Celtics. They're just always the team that's waiting for us to just send us home. And it's going to happen again. I think we're going to beat Orlando, and I think the Celtics will beat us in 4 or 5 games. But Tyrese Maxey, one of the great playoff risers in this league, usually because Embiid is injured and he gets to take on a larger scoring burden. But I think he'll be good enough to get us over the line against just a disaster of an Orlando Magic team coming off a disaster of a season.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the game in Philly, I think Tyrese Maxey is just going to do what Tyrese Maxey does in the playoffs. Like you said, I'm a Knicks fan. I felt the wrath of Tyrese Maxey a couple years ago when he was just still coming up. Well, he was drafted, 22, 23? I think, he was still when he was younger. Now he's got even more games as a number one option. I like Tyrese Maxey in that game. I hope the Orlando Magic lose this game and then the next game. I'm out on the Orlando Magic. And I've been out, but they are such a disappointment. Jamal Mosley, the head coach, he's going to be fired as soon as the season ends. They can't stand each other. Paulo Banchero, all the praise I gave him before the season, it just has not come to fruition for Paulo. I don't know. I'm watching that game against the Celtics 2 nights ago. When this comes out, he was non-existent in the fourth quarter. Just non-existent. Desmond Bane is throwing up a random shot. Like Jalen Suggs was the primary offensive guy on that team in the fourth quarter. He's like a defensive guy. Like this team blows my mind. I know we both had high expectations for him. They come crashing down? And I know, again, as a Knicks fan, everyone that wanted to say, hey, Magic over the Knicks, Paulo Banchero over Jalen Brunson, and all these different takes, man. And again, I was on the Magic train. I thought in this Eastern Conference before the season, they'd be a top 4 team in the East. Just a disaster from them. So I think they're going to lose to Philly. And you know what? In my opinion, I think they'll lose to Charlotte, and I think they'll be knocked out. And you know what? I'm happy because I'm so sick of the Magic.
Yeah, I mean, they're amazing at losing games that they have no business losing. I mean, the Celtics weren't even trying yesterday, and they came back from down like 10. Like, It's pretty incredible. If there's one upside, like Bane had a good season, but that doesn't matter when your best player cannot figure it out in Paolo and can't seem to work with your second best player in Franz Wagner. It's going to be a fascinating offseason, but it's probably going to be a demolition of some kind where one of the big players has to probably move, and they're definitely changing the coach, and that's going to be it for them.
Crazy. 4 picks for Desmond Bane, and you get, 8 seed? Just great. Just not what Orlando drew up. What about Clippers and Golden State in the Intuit Dome in LA? How do you like that game?
I have no idea. I like that game.
I'm with you. I don't know what it is.
Curry's back, right? So that's like it could just be Curry, explodes and we get a nice last Curry game. But I mean, they're the only team. They're well under 500. They're the only team in the playoffs or play-in who's under 500, I believe. it's a terrible team around him as well, around Steph. It's a marginally better team around Kawhi for the Clippers.
Yeah.
So I think like Steph and Kawhi both have the potential to just have a great game and carry their team to a win. And I guess because Kawhi's team is at home and better team around him slightly than the Warriors, who just have nobody outside of Steph. I think I'd go with the Clippers in that one.
Yeah, I'm just going Clippers as well because they're at home. I do not. Curry might go off, like you said, like a vintage Curry moment. Who else is going to score? I don't know. So, that's a toss-up for me. All right, so you had Heat and Magic in the East meeting up, and then it would be Clippers and
Blazers.
Trailblazers.
Yeah.
All right, pick those two games.
I guess I'd take the Clippers over the Blazers because of Kawhi.
I think,
I'll be fascinated to see, like, people have talked about it all season with Denny Avdija. Like, he's like the worst player to ever have that good of a whistle. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens when the playoffs come. Usually refs, chill out a little bit in the big games. So I guess I'd take the Clippers in that probably, and I think I'd take the Heat over the Magic or the Hornets.
I'm going to go Hornets get to that 1 seed, and I'll go Clippers 8 seed facing the 1 seed. And I'll say Clippers take on OKC. All right, so let's go first round here. All right, let's do the 2 1 seeds. We got OKC and Detroit, and then you have Detroit taking on the Heat. Really, I have them taking on the Hornets. I think both of us anticipate them advancing and being a shorter series, not dragged on. And then OKC versus the Clippers. I mean, anything of note? Obviously, I think for the Detroit, I think OKC will take care of whoever they play with ease.
Yeah.
I think that's just where OKC is. Detroit, Cade Cunningham came back for the final few regular season games. I mean, I feel like against the Hornets, it gives them a little bit of trouble for, a half or something. Game. Charlotte might get a game. Against the Heat, I'd like Detroit in 4 or 5 as well. Your thoughts on Detroit and what you just want to see out of Detroit with Cade Cunningham now back? See, any signs for them trying to get out of this first round?
Yeah, it's huge that Cade got back last week. Didn't cut into the playoffs at all. They get their continuity back, and they did a good job like holding on without him. So that's a really good sign for Detroit. Really, that they're that like well coached and well drilled that they can hold on without their best player, even offensively. They got a good boost from, was it Dennis Jenkins who put up a bunch of points? I'm trying to.
Yeah. Yes, because he signed. He was a 2-way guy. Then he officially ran out of games, and they signed him to a contract. And then he was absolutely terrible for the stretch where Detroit lost some games in a row.
Yeah.
And then Cade went out, and Jenkins came back to his pre-signing the contract days earlier in the season, and he put, I think, a couple 20-point games here and there. And I think it was Jenkins, and then a mixture of Durant and all these different guys.
Yeah.
And Thompson was able to come back from injury. So I think a mixture, which is good because the biggest knock I think we both have on him is if it isn't Cade, who's going to be on offensively in the playoffs? And maybe that little stretch helped them out without Cade and having to figure it out.
Yeah, totally. I think, if the Heat get that far, in the past, the Heat made noise as an 8 seed that one time, but you would need like generational Jimmy Butler shot making to get out of that first round, and they don't have that anymore. So, I love the Pistons in that spot, and I'm thank God Cade is back, honestly, because it looked like momentum was swinging toward the Celtics walking to the finals, and I think at least now it's going to be a challenge for them.
If Cade, and again, this is just hypothetical, if Cade didn't return, like some people thought he'd come back for the second round, and they took on the Hornets, do you think that series would go 6-7 games? Or do you think?
Yeah, if Cade didn't come back, I think that would go 6. But I still think the Pistons would get it done.
I agree. All right, let's move on to the 2 seeds. You got.
By the way, wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
I need to ask you a question. Who gets sent to Galveston this year?
Orlando. Get Orlando out of here.
Orlando to Galveston?
Send Orlando to Galveston. They're I'm so done with her. I hope, you have those nice beaches in Florida. You get sent to Galveston with those crappy beaches, trash. Well, like you get the downgrade of all downgrades. Granted, I don't know, if Orlando's nothing like Miami. I'm not a Florida person, so whatever. That might be what it is, but you get sent to Galveston. I'm so done with Orlando. I can't stand them. I'm sending Orlando to Galveston. What about you?
If it's a team in a 7-game series that is most likely to get swept, probably Probably Orlando. I think they're like the most. They're just most embarrassed. That's what the thought exercise is. Which team in this playoff picture are you just most embarrassed about? It's Orlando.
And I'll say this, if Curry has a couple good play-in games, like vintage Curry, and the Warriors somehow make it, send the entire Warriors organization minus Steph Curry to Galveston.
Totally.
Front office, all of it, send them to Galveston. Steph Curry can stay
Draymond.
in his house with, send them all. You know what, you mentioned Draymond. Draymond had a really nice podcast with Anthony Davis. We can touch at the end. I don't know if you saw some clips about Anthony Davis's perspective of the Luka trade. Mm-hmm. That was a really well done, at least from Anthony Davis's part. Draymond stayed quiet for when Anthony Davis answered, but I thought I like the insight from Anthony Davis.
Draymond's probably going to be on the inside the NBA desk in a month. He drops in pretty often. I'd imagine he's going to be there again.
Most definitely, this playoff run. All right, let's go. 2 seeds. You got Boston and San Antonio. Really, I mean, it'll be we think both against the Philly in the first round. Mm-hmm. I know you kind of gave your prediction on that.
Yeah.
Not second round. In the second seed, San Antonio versus Phoenix. Personally, I see both quick series for both these teams. Yeah. Anything of note for these potential matchups do you see that could, catch the 2 seeds off guard?
I think the Spurs are going to sweep whoever they play. I think they're just a different level right now. Even if Embiid was playing, I'd still pick the Celtics. That's me being as unbiased as possible. Just they own us, and that's it. And they've played excellent. Like Mazzulla is an incredible coach. I can't believe what they've done, man. I mean, I thought this was like rebuilding time for them, and they lost the big veteran pieces that won them a title pretty much with Porzingis and Drew Holiday, and they traded Anthony Simons for Vucevic, and like that's worked. And yeah, Tatum and Brown have just hit another level, and it's a disaster for the rest of us. But yeah, I think the Celtics will beat the Sixers in 5.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. Now let's get to the fun series. 3-6 and 4-5s. Let's go to 3-6 first. Western Conference, Denver versus Minnesota. I know I just saw a tweet a couple days ago, or maybe a week ago now, that you were watching the Nuggets and said, I can't, what was it? It was
after the Spurs game. There's no limits on that Nuggets team. That was the game of the year. That was unbelievable.
And then on the other side, Knicks versus Hawks. Let's go Western Conference first. Denver versus Minnesota. I know you like both of these teams, as we mentioned. Denver. You've always been a component and big fan of Ant and Minnesota. Yeah. How does this series go?
Yeah, I think Denver's gonna win it, and they should win it. They've played a lot better of late, getting up to the 3 seed. But Minnesota has given them hell in the past, and Minnesota is a team pretty much designed to stop Jokic. Like they've got, they can throw McDaniels at you away from the basket with his like incredible reach, and then if Jokic gets down low, again he owns Rudy Gobert. We all remember that series, but it's as good as a body as you can throw at Jokic pretty much when you're down low, and they've got athletes on the wings. Aaron Gordon being back is just huge. It's huge for the Nuggets. It showed in that Spurs game, which we were talking about, which basically felt like an NBA Finals game. Aaron Gordon was amazing down the stretch of that game with the lob threat, the 3-point shooting, and really most importantly, the defense. So this, if we're going back to the series from 2 years ago, which obviously went 7 games between these two teams in the conference semifinals, Timberwolves won that series. It really felt like an announcement of that team. This is a worse team from that, and that was the team with Cat. That was before they traded him for Randall, which is a move I didn't mind. But they've just been off, the Wolves, and Ant's been hurt, so that's contributed to it. And like obviously, if we see Ant just kind of going, he's like one of the best first-round playoff players in the league. Like really, like 3 years in a row now, he's just kind of. There's been Michael Jordan talks about Anthony Edwards after the first round each of the past 3 years. Like, that's how good he's been.
Yep.
So if he hits that level, yeah, it'll be great. But the Nuggets finally got healthy. They're playing well at the right time. I think it'll take 6 games. but I think they'll do it. I think they'll beat Minnesota.
I'm with you. I'm with you on 6 as well because I feel, as you mentioned, they've gotten healthy. It feels like they're clicking in a clicking a clicking Denver Nuggets team. Again, we could talk about the two first and second seed, the first 2 seeds in the Western Conference and how they match up against them. But a clicking Denver Nuggets team, I think they beat any other team with not ease, but I like their chance against everyone, and that includes the Timberwolves when they're clicking, when Aaron Gordon's here, when Jamal Murray and Jokic are feeling themselves and feeling solid pause. Like, I like the Denver Nuggets in 6. That was crazy. I didn't know where I was going with that one. So, no, but I like the Nuggets in that one. Ant being injured for a little bit does concern me. Julius Randle, it feels like Wolves fans are feeling the Julius Randle effect. I've seen some Twitter that, okay, there's times when you get some great Julius Randle, and then there's times where you get some, I think last year in the playoffs, there was a game, Randall had 40, and the next night he had like 4. Right. So it was like, Julius Randle, I'm a fan. I was always a Randall defender. But that's just how you get what you get with him in the playoffs and kind of the regular season as well. Chris Finch has called him out publicly a couple times. So, again, I just think the championship pedigree of this Nuggets team, I like them against the Wolves. I think Ant will have a couple games where he goes berserk. Yeah, to draw those comparisons, like, oh, okay, yeah, Ant's got it out. But overall, I like the team, like you mentioned. I think this is a better team, better roster, clicking at the right time for the Denver Nuggets against a Wolves team that feels like it's kind of limped to the finish line. I mean, you look at the trade deadline, there was all these talks about Giannis. Yes, they got Ayo Dosunmu, which was a nice pickup, especially when Ant went down. But we talked about before the season, we didn't love their roster going into the season. They really didn't do much to upgrade other than Dosunmu, who I mentioned, has played well. When you look at roster to roster, I like the Nuggets. And when you look at best player to best player, while Ant's on the top tier of NBA players, I like Jokic and the way he's playing at the moment and as he has all season. I like Denver in 6, like you mentioned.
If you're Minnesota, I mean, you have to look at this run at the end of the season as just a massive missed opportunity. Like, if you could have climbed to the 4 or the 5, you're getting to the second round. You're gonna probably, I'd take him over the Rockets, and I'd absolutely take him over the Lakers, who I'm sure we're gonna talk about in a second, but they're in disaster mode. Especially having Ant, on your team. It's such a missed opportunity and kind of a lost season for a team that definitely believes they're in a championship window.
Yeah, and it felt like you mentioned not climbing to the 4 or 5. It's like, this is a team that should make the second round, but when you match up against any of those first 3 teams in the West, I mean, again, those are 3 teams at the top of the conference. I mean, we can talk about if we get there and when the time comes, San Antonio and Denver, which will be an absolute bloodbath of a series, right? Like, and those 2 teams are right next to it, neck and neck, just on the same tier. Yeah. Minnesota's a tier below, and that's why, like you said, I expect Denver to take care of Minnesota in 6. I think Ant will have a few games that we go, okay, yep, that's the Ant-Man we know, but his surrounding and supporting characters and castmates on that team, I don't know. I can't always trust Julius Randle when it comes to these moments. So, like you said, I like Denver in 6. All right, Eastern Conference. This one's fun. Eastern, a lot of shifting. Thank you to Orlando. This is the reason why we have this matchup now. Knicks 3 seed, Hawks 6 seed. Hawks, one of the hottest teams in the league. The last, 30 games or something like that. How do you see this series, Vincent?
I like the Knicks. I said, I guess a couple of months ago now, I thought the Knicks were the favorite in the East just because they can beat you so many ways, and I think Cat and Brunson have kind of improved upon their ability to play on the court together, which is a huge deal. People will bring up the Trae Young series. That is 5 years ago now. That has nothing to do. It's an entirely different Hawks starting 5. I mean, it's a different coach. It's completely different. So, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Mitchell Robinson, the only lone, I think on both sides, lone player that's still around from that series, and he was injured for that 2021 series. The Knicks starting point guard was Elfrid Payton. They had to change to Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose got the start, I think, in Game 4 and Game 5 because Elfrid Payton was unplayable. Yeah. And then that was the series Julius Randle shot like 17% from the field. And granted, he was coming back from a bum ankle and got double-teamed, which was a smart move from the Hawks. But just a series that still, to this day, lives on. But I'm with you. I've seen a couple pundits already go back to 2021. It's two completely different teams, and I mean, not even the same coach. Tom Thibodeau fired last year, so it's Mike Brown and a whole new regime. So yeah, I think 2021 holds no weight. If you're looking at that, yeah, that's whole new teams playing against each other right there.
Was the Hawks coach Nate McMillan back then?
Yes.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah, it was. I think that was like his first or second year, and so it's everyone's like, oh, he's the next great thing. And then they hired Quinn Snyder a couple years later after firing him.
Yeah. If there is a Trae Young in this series, someone who can put it on his back and win it for the Hawks, I mean, is it just Jalen Johnson? Is there someone you can see really giving the Knicks trouble?
I'd say Jalen Johnson, just because he's the best player on the Hawks. Nickeil Alexander-Walker torched us for 36 the other night. Granted, I think he went 7 for 11 from the three-point line. He couldn't miss from the three. It was unbelievable. And some of the looks he was making, it was just like, just great shot making. He's been fantastic too. He's shooting over 40% from the three during this hot streak for him. So he's been good. But again, I think it's Jalen Johnson. I know Jonathan Kuminga coming off the bench for Atlanta. He might have some nice games where he has 20 points or something, but I think if you have someone that could be Trae Young, take over a game, try and take over a series, it'd have to be Jalen Johnson. My thing is, he might just be too young and too inexperienced in this moment, though, so far.
Yeah, and
to do so.
Like Hawks, no shade, like one to watch going forward for sure. They have the Pelicans pick this year. Like they're going to get probably someone really good to pair with Jalen Johnson, but Knicks playoff experience now, best player in the series, best two players in the series, to be honest. The Knicks in 5.
Yeah, I was saying last night, I think the safe bet is Knicks in 6, but I really can see a scenario where it's Knicks in 5. Hawks don't have a decent defensive big to guard Cat and Mitchell Robinson. I think if you play double bigs, it could absolutely dominate them. When you look at it, I know everyone in Atlanta is saying Dyson Daniels is going to lock up Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson has had his way with Dyson Daniels.
Come on, man.
Again, it's funny. It's like Jalen Brunson's been one of the, when you talk about playoff risers, Jalen Brunson is on a list with, I think, Kobe, MJ, and LeBron is like 4 play. This was against your guys, the 76ers, 4 straight games with 40 points. Again, I think the Knicks, they've played well. And you mentioned a very huge point. Brunson and Cat have gotten more involved together lately. They were running the pick and roll against Boston the other night in ways that Knicks fans were like, it's that easy. Just do that. Like, if you did that the entire season, we would have no discussion about what's wrong with Cat. So hopefully,
that was a huge win.
Oh my gosh, that was incredible. And that gives me hope, because you look at the Vucevic, he just can't guard Cat. Kata really can't guard Cat. So that's, if they do get to the second round matchup against the Celtics, again, a big guy like Cat, and then you also have Mitchell Robinson, who's been phenomenal in lob catching this year. They gave him more trust in throwing up the lob to Mitchell Robinson, and he's always a difference maker in any series he's in. So I like the Knicks, and then, of course, you got OG and Mikal Bridges, 2 wings that, shouldn't have their way, but should be able to slow down a Jalen Johnson, a CJ McCollum, a Nickeil Alexander-Walker for the Hawks. And the Hawks really don't have any depth either. So, again, I like the Knicks safe bet in 6. I can really see where Knicks get this done in 5.
Yeah. Can I tell you what I'm really looking forward to is watching Josh Hart fly for rebounds again.
Yep.
In the playoffs. I love at the Garden. They'll be chanting his name. It'll be great.
And when I talk about inexperience for the Hawks, I mean, it'll be something when they step into MSG on game 1, right, 6 o'clock Eastern time. I was watching some old playoff videos from the last couple of years last night when everything got set in stone. I was like, okay, yeah. MSG is a little different. So I like the Knicks in 6 again, safe bet. I'm with Vincent, though. I can see where they get this done in 5 if they impose their will on the glass and with the big men, which would be huge to get Cat going if they want to make a run this postseason. Let's go 4-5 matchups. These ones are interesting. One in the Western Conference, because just the Lakers are depleted. It's just like LeBron James and Bronny James at this point. The 2 Jameses going up against KD and the Rockets, who I think if you would have taken them against, if you would have put them in a series against anybody else in the West, like you throw in the Suns, you might even throw in the Trailblazers, I might not pick the Rockets to advance. But against this Lakers team, I think I got the Rockets advancing, just because you look at they're going to need Jake LaRavia to have incredible games. It just sucks because they've been on this run with Luka playing an MVP level AR-15, making a nice run. All of them feeling together, the big three of LeBron, AR, and Luka, just for in a day, it all to just go away. Your thoughts on Lakers, Houston, 4-5 matchup in the West?
Yeah, if you told me before the season this would be our first round matchup, I would have been so excited because I thought so highly of the Rockets, and that would mean the Lakers would have had a really good season, and I would be like, this is going 7 games. Here, I wrote this down. How far would 2018 LeBron go with this Lakers team?
Oh, are you okay? Question: would it be in the East or would it be in the Western Conference today? You put 2018 on this Lakers team in the West.
This Lakers team with Luka hurt, with Reeves hurt,
but 2018 LeBron.
But instead of 2026 LeBron, he ages back 8 years.
Therefore, second round.
They'd win this series.
They'd win the series. I don't think they can beat OKC.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to think. LeBron beat Toronto second round in 2018. I mean, he owned
LeBronto.
Yep, LeBronto. Yeah. And then he beat a young Celtics team in the East. Yeah, I think just the overall depth of this Western Conference, I'd have him losing to the Thunder, but I think he'd make it interesting. I think he could get 2 against the Thunder.
I think he could get 2. Did they beat the Pacers that year too? Was that the Oladipo Pacers year?
Oladipo blocked, then the 3 at the top of the key, or the top of the 3-point line for the buzzer beater. Yeah,
God, he was unbelievable. I feel this way. I watch a lot of soccer, and I feel this way watching Messi and Ronaldo now. They're not retired, so I haven't totally accepted that it's not what it used to be. I'll still tune in when they play, but with LeBron, it is over. And it's been over for kind of a long time now. That it's been 8 years since 2018, when he was really at his best, and he won the title in 2020, obviously. But when I think about that, when I think about how good he was and how he would be the best player in the league right now, it's kind of sad. It's kind of just bummed myself out.
It all went downhill when Solomon Hill dove into his ankle, and he hurt the ankle in 2021. Was having an MVP season. Solomon Hill just had to be Mr. Hustle on the court. No, but I think, just last word on the 2018 LeBron. When Jeff Gundy said after the Celtics win, this is one of the greatest accomplishments he's seen in basketball, carrying that team to a finals. In the moment, it's come on. Jeff, come on. Don't, these are NBA players. But looking back, oh my gosh. That team he had around him, I think that 2018 LeBron's the greatest basketball player I got to watch. That playoff run, I don't think I've seen a basketball player play at a higher level than him. But sadly, we got 2026 LeBron and a bunch of other guys. Rui Hachimura and DeAndre Ayton, who got mad at a reporter for telling him his matchup last night. I don't know if you saw that video. Dude, why'd you spoil it for me? I just want to go on my phone and see it. We got Ayton versus Sengun in the post. What do you like? I got the Rockets in 5. I think.
Yeah, I think 5 is about right. And it's amazing all the stuff that's gone wrong for the Rockets. They're still probably going to hit the second round ceiling that we thought they were going to hit anyway.
Yeah, no. So then they'll take on OKC, and that'll be a cruise for OKC to the Western Conference Finals, which then will be a bloodbath, whoever comes out of that side of the bracket for the Western Conference Finals, Spurs or Thunder, we assume. But yeah, no, I think Lakers, you don't have anybody. Rockets, I can't stand you. You're the worst team in the clutch, but I think you'll have enough that you can beat this Lakers squad. So yeah, again, big miss by Minnesota, not getting up to that 5 seed, because that could have been a sweep against the Lakers, I feel like, if Minnesota was there. Let's go over to the Eastern Conference. This is a very interesting matchup. Toronto and Cleveland. And I say very interesting, even though I will pick Cleveland in this matchup. But interesting because I saw someone was saying, hey, Toronto did win, I believe, 2 out of the 3 matchups they had this season in the regular season. As a Cleveland fan said, hey, those matchups came all 3 in the first month of the season. Lonzo Ball was our starting point guard for the Cavaliers when we took on the Raptors earlier this season. So
the podcaster Lonzo Ball.
Podcast. Oh my gosh! Think about how far what 4 months can do for somebody. This is again. I think Cleveland will win this. Toronto, they're an interesting, fun team. I think I think maybe just 5 for Cleveland if Cleveland play. I don't know. My mind's always scrambled when it comes to Cleveland and Donovan Mitchell. Spider will be fine, and then James Harden. Like what? Like it's just like so many variables. Like how they could play all these different things. I'd like Cleveland in 5, 6 at most, but I don't know. It should be a somewhat fun series. What are your thoughts on this 4-5?
Yeah, this would be on NBA TV if NBA TV was still doing playoff games. I think
Yep.
Amazon's the third partner now, so it'll be on Amazon. But, yeah, the Harden stuff I think will kick in the next round. I think he can kind of cruise Donovan Mitchell, easily the best player in the series. But look, man, the Cavs are under a ton of pressure. They went all in with Harden, so there's a chance that like they're playing really tight and under a lot of pressure, and the Raptors are playing really free and easy because they've overperformed this season by a lot. But yes, Cleveland. I think Cleveland will do it, but I think they'll do it in 6.
Okay. You think Toronto will get 2?
Yeah. This is a good Toronto team that's kind of like every time I feel like they're going to drop a lot, they've kind of come back up. So I think they'll do it. And Cleveland, I don't know. We'll see with Cleveland. I'm skeptical for sure.
I would like to say to anyone who is saying, "Oh, the Knicks are crying about getting Atlanta instead of Toronto." No, the reason why we wanted Toronto is because we haven't lost to them in 3 years. We're 13-0 against Toronto in the last 3 years since we traded for OG, and we were just hoping for an easy first-round series. We've been in some battles the last few years. But yeah, no, it'll be interesting. I have a question. Do you think Cleveland? A lot of people are saying that they might they have the easiest path to a conference finals. Obviously, it's you could look at them, Detroit, obviously the 1 seed, but like for a 3, 4, 5 type seed, that they have the easiest path, whether that be against a Toronto Raptors team that everyone believes is too young and Cleveland should beat them. And now, if they meet up with Detroit in the second round, a lot of people are picking Cleveland over Detroit. Maybe that is because of Cade Cunningham being injured, or maybe people just believe in Cleveland that much. I mean, do you think it's quote-unquote an easier path for Cleveland?
No, I think people are just kind of looking at the Pistons as a 1 seed right now and not really buying it because it's new, but it's legit. They won 60 games and they played the back 3 weeks without Cade Cunningham, their best player, and they've been rising up the standings the past couple of years, so they've totally earned it, won it by a good amount, and I think if Cleveland goes into Detroit in the second round, they're in trouble. They're certainly, obviously they're not going to be favored, but I think people get a little obsessed with like the star power on a team, Donovan Mitchell and James Harden being on the same team. Evan Mobley's a great player too, and I think they would fail to see that the Pistons are, despite like the bigs the Cavs have and despite the scores they have at guard, Pistons are a better defensive team. Pistons are probably, I would imagine their offensive ratings at least comparable with Cleveland. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be easy at all. I think they'll really have to overperform to get out of the second round.
I agree with you. I think, people penciling in Cleveland for the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, I just can't agree with that. All right, so that's our first round. Anything of note that you're looking at this first round, these play-in games? Anything of note you're looking at? Any matchups in particular? I mean, obviously, Jokic and those 2 best players on the team, but anything of note that you're looking at in this first round and excited for?
All I'm saying is I'm not going back on my Western Conference Finals pick. I think they're going to do it. I think Jokic is about to run the table. I saw what I saw. That Spurs game was all I needed. That was all I needed. Dropping the fade over Wemby. That was... I think he's going to do it.
Find someone that believes in you like Vincent believes in Jokic. He's been Nuggets to the death of them this season. You know what? They've gotten up for a while. It looked like they could fall to the 5th seed. They're at the 3 seed. Obviously, a matchup versus Wemby in the second round would be phenomenal. We talked about the Spurs and Wemby. Obviously, a young team. Any concern for them going in this playoffs, not being quote-unquote battle-tested? Or do you think, they've kind of silenced everything and they're ready for what comes next?
I think that's going to show when they get the Nuggets in the second round. I think that's why I lean Nuggets in this scenario. They seem more battle tested. but they keep defying all standards of like where they should be. Winning 62 games in Wemby's third year, it's just unheard of levels of early success. And I think it's unfortunate for them. They could like be a finals. They're good enough to be a finals team this year, but they have clearly an all-time team ahead of them in OKC, and an all-time player just behind them in Jokic.
Yeah. It will be an interesting one in the West. Anything else before we get out of here? We gave our first round picks. Anything else you got? I'm trying to think. Anything at the end of the regular season? I'm trying to think that surprised you.
They announced the Hall of Fame class. Did you see the Hall of Fame class?
Oh, I saw it, but I'm blanking on who it is this year.
It's Amari Stoudemire,
Okay.
Candace Parker, and Elena Del Don, who obviously get in first ballot.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be NBA players, and Doc Rivers.
Oh, I know. We did. Doc Rivers fired.
Yes.
Or did he fire or did he resign? What's the?
I
forget
think he
the
got
wording
fired.
on it.
I mean,
Yeah, I think
Hall of Famer
from
Doc
Milwaukee.
Rivers. That's Hall of
Vincent,
Famer
I'll
Doc
let you
Rivers
take the
to you.
floor.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame Doc Rivers to me, to you, to everybody. I'll give you the floor. I almost forgot about the most important segment of the show.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers no longer the head coach of Milwaukee. Vincent, you got the floor. We got Doc Rivers' #1 fan here reacting to the departure.
This one kind of I'm not blaming him for how bad the Bucks were. I'm blaming him for taking the job in the first place. Because the players got rid of Budenholzer. Then they got rid of, who was their coach before Doc?
Adrian Griffin.
Then they exiled Adrian Griffin immediately. They were like, I remember dancing around the game after like in warm-ups, they were like chilling.
They were like 30-9 to start the season.
Yes.
Or they were like first in the East, and they couldn't stay. They had to get him out of there for some reason.
Adrian Griffin. Doc took the job, and it was just Doc. It was just vintage Doc Rivers stuff the entire time. It was, and this season especially, just a master class. And like every post-game press conference, he's just like depressed out of his mind. And I felt bad for him, honestly, in the end. It wasn't like a tragedy of a coaching job by him, because Giannis got hurt, and then Giannis was looking for a trade, and they lost all the pieces that won them a title. Like they totally aged out in these last 2 years, and he shouldn't have done. He shouldn't have. He had the Sixers were right to fire him, despite the direction the franchise has gone since, and it felt like he was just jumping back in too fast because, I guess he could kind of hitch his wagon to like another title winning or like another deep playoff run if he was coaching Giannis's team. And it's just it seems it's so clear to me. And I remember Austin Rivers' son, obviously, who's doing great things in the media right now, saying he wants to see his dad coaching a team like he coached at his start, coaching Orlando, like a team that was like young and on the rise and didn't have expectations that he could really get the best out of. Because anyone who knows Doc Rivers, anyone who's had Doc Rivers coach their team, knows that he coaches well when your best players aren't playing. And because of that reputation, maybe this season was more of a failure than anything for the Bucks. Maybe Doc did fail this season because he failed to get anything out of these guys with Giannis not playing, which I can understand, but that's also been his calling card for the past few years. So I would stress to Doc, see, that magic job is open again. So maybe he wants that. I wouldn't take it. If I was Doc Rivers, I would take a year off and take over a terrible team. And we also know this in the NBA, Luke. The coaches that stay are the coaches on bad teams. Because like they can kind of just convince a front office, like, I don't have the guys yet, and then it's a revolving door, like at the top of conferences. Dwayne Casey won Coach of the Year and got fired, right? Frank Vogel didn't last long after winning a title. Budenholzer didn't last long after winning a title with Milwaukee.
Michael Malone, Denver.
There you go, Mike Malone, UNC's coach now.
UNC.
Fascinating. I would suggest to Doc take some time off, or maybe never coach again. No disrespect, but you've had a Hall of Fame career apparently. Maybe just chill.
No, don't forget. I mean, after that 76ers firing, didn't he join ESPN and ESPN let go of Jeff Van Gundy because they said, "Oh, we're nervous that he might take a coaching job, and we didn't want to be left, for dead when he, took a coaching job and didn't have a number two."
Yeah.
And then Doc Rivers took that Milwaukee job in the middle of the season. JJ Redick took the Lakers job the next year. And so maybe he gets back into the media landscape. Obviously, you mentioned Austin Rivers
sure he will.
has been doing stuff. Funny, Orlando, I see a few people on Twitter saying, hey, wouldn't the Orlando Magic be a great team for Tom Thibodeau to make his return to the NBA?
That would be great.
A young team. I honestly could see it. A young team that needs some direction, and boy, you'll get some. I don't know if Paulo would enjoy Tom Thibodeau as his head coach playing him 46, but hey, it is what it is. Anything else before we wrap up here? I know you didn't like Doc Rivers telling his team in meetings, hey, this is my Hall of Fame resume. You didn't think that was a good way to encourage them?
That's just such a bad sign. And I don't know, I wish I had a better idea of what goes on inside these organizations, because I think the players are clearly getting the message that they don't want to win. And so Doc saying stuff like that, and granted it was leaked out of the lot, but did you see how many sources leaked it, Luke? It was according to 15 people in the room or something. Doc said that everybody just went and sought out their favorite local reporter after that. And I mean,
yeah, they called either whoever they felt comfortable, or they called their agent and said, hey, get this story out to whatever source you feel comfortable with getting it out. Yeah, no, he lost the room. I saw Giannis was hugging on him when they were going back to the locker room. Giannis, we could do a whole separate podcast on Giannis this season and what's the future for him. The same reports get recycled over and over with him. I've seen the same report about him wanting to win in Madison Square Garden because the fans are overseas fans. I saw it again last week. I was like, this came out 10 months ago. What are we doing here? We could do a whole podcast about Giannis and his future. Who knows what in the world is going on there. But what we do know is he's still a member of the Bucks. Doc Rivers, the head coach, is no more. I don't know where Milwaukee goes. Well, honestly, where they go is trading Giannis this summer. Will they do it? We don't know. Will Giannis be a bad guy and finally say, I want to be traded? We will have to see. Milwaukee, I think both of us had them top 6 when I was looking back. Just off the strength of Giannis. Yeah. Obviously, that went awry when he got injured.
It's a tragedy, man. He wasted a season. He was hurt this year, but he could have come back, and they shut him down. And because he didn't get his trade, and you don't see that a lot, especially guys in their 30s. You get a sense that time is of the essence here, and it's a real shame we didn't get a full season of Giannis, who's when he plays, one of the best there is.
100%. All right. Anything else before we wrap up here? We got first round coming to us, I believe, Saturday. The first game play-in will be tonight. I believe I'll drop this on Tuesday. Should be a fun one.
Yep.
Should be a fun one. I think any last-minute predictions? I mean, you did say something I want to ask you real quick. Who do you have? Who's your favorite in the East at this moment before the playoffs and play-in start?
Pistons.
Okay, Pistons. No Boston.
I can't find it within myself to pick Boston.
Okay, all right. We'll see. It'll all be played out in front of us live Saturday. Playoffs begin. Got some matchups. Should be a good time. And that's all we got on Court Vision. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, make sure you like this video. Comment below who you think is going to win it all. Subscribe here to Backman Sports and subscribe to Vincent Zakian. Hey, that's all we got. Appreciate you tuning in. Peace. We're out.